Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Istanbul.
We are delighted to kick off a brand new season.
Borussia Dortmund.
Sometimes you cannot believe your eyes.
FC Copenhagen.
And Alvarez to make it 5.
FC Sevilla.
Rico Lewis, dream night.
Leipzig, a significant obstacle to overcome in the round of 16.
What a performance, what a statement.
The quarterfinals, but the question, who's going to play who?
Bayern Munich.
Manchester City, FC Bayern.
This is where the Champions League gets really special. The pocket there for Rodri, skips away from...
It's a goal to take you from the way in the Champions League.
Ricardo's lost out to Grealish, but it goes to Haaland, promising for City, pulls across to Bernardo Silva! The target is stoned. Haaland! And that's one of Manchester City's great nights in Europe. They've taken Bayern Munich apart tonight. Pep Guardiola must be so proud of his players.
It's an incredible result, but we have to do our game with a huge personality. Otherwise, the result is good, but we have a job to do.
City will face Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final for the second season in a row.
I think all the clubs around the world had the feeling that if you want to win this competition, you have to beat Real Madrid.
The Blues have negotiated a draw. They're a win away from the Champions League final.
So here we go then, part 2 of the Dream semi-final. History chasing Manchester City against the 14-time European champions Real Madrid. It's the very best the game of football has to offer. Sit back and enjoy it.
Walker now onto De Bruyne on the edge of the area. Into the gap for Bernardo Silva. 1-0. Manchester City lead Real Madrid. It's been a battery and City lead at last. It might break for Bernardo Silva. City 2, Real Madrid 0.
Manchester City have had some great nights. They haven't had many greater nights in European competition than this one.
City are in the final of the UEFA Champions League of 2023.
Welcome to Istanbul. Welcome to Turkey.
To achieve things, always you have to have the correct portion of obsession, to desire, to want it. When obsession is a positive word for the fact to be desire, but of course a dream for all of us. Yeah, absolutely a dream.
Well, for many, Manchester City are the best team in Europe. Tonight they again have the chance to have the trophy that proves it. On to Haaland. Haaland goes through. Haaland! Oh, good block by Onana. Akanji advances. Akanji in the gap. Good ball. Bernardo Silva round the back. No, nobody there. Rodri! City won! It's a nil! The Blues are in dreamland! It's off the line, it's saved! How did that not go in? And Ederson palms it away! City are winning the Champions League!
The fighting we did it.
The Champions League winners of 2023! They didn't lose a single game! They've won the Champions League in style!
Hello and
welcome to Matchday Live as we begin the defence of our UEFA Champions League trophy. How good does that sound? Throughout the show, I will be pitchside alongside some very, very special guests. And we also have team news for you too. But let's first get to know a bit more about the magic of the Champions League.
So the stage is set inside the Atatürk Stadium.
I cannot wait. The pressure is on Manchester City.
Is this their night of European glory, of the treble?
To be considered one of the really good team, you have to win the Europe. And we did it.
Into the gap for Bernardo Silva.
What a ball that is by Cancelo!
So there are teams that win the Champions League after 1 or 2 seasons disappear. This is what we have to avoid it.
Kevin De Bruyne! Rodri tries it, scores! Rodri with an absolute peach!
Right now, I think Manchester City are a level above everybody else.
Now we have the first. But I don't want after 1 Champions League disappear.
Whew, goosebumps watching that. What a great VT to remember last season's amazing run all the way to the final and beyond and lifting that famous trophy. Manchester City, champions of Europe, as FG says, feels nice to say it. Welcome to Matchday Live. I'm Chris Latchem and, well, it's back. City can finally say, here we are tonight as the defending champions of Europe. Red Star Belgrade are the team in town and we are just over an hour away from kickoff. And we have got a great panel in the studio with me tonight. Steph Houghton is with us, David James and Steve Howey as well. We've just seen some of the most amazing VT content I think we've ever produced on this channel. Steve, some amazing memories of that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you kind of look at it and you've got, I was just actually looking around the group and everybody's got a really big smile. It is amazing just to look back on it. And to be quite honest, I mean, last year it was some amazing games, some amazing action, some amazing goals. And rightfully, I think what somebody sort of said on there, they were just a different level above everybody else. They showed that. And for me, deservedly won it. But it was still absolutely so special just to re-watch that again.
Yeah, Steph, everyone will have their favourite memories of last season. It might be Rodri's goal in the final or the moment they finally lifted the trophy. What was the one moment for you that you cherished the most?
Apart from that 45 minutes against Real Madrid in the first half where they were absolutely unbelievable, the actual whole Istanbul experience was amazing. To be part of City TV and to be there in that moment and to kind of celebrate with the lads after was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, loads of fond memories. Been fortunate enough to have a lot of memories as a player, but as a fan, I think that was probably one of my favourite days, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt. JMO, your favourite moment?
I think that VT was superb, by the way. I think the fragility of success in the sense that there was a save by Ederson right at the end of that game, which could have changed everything. And everyone had a part in the success of winning the Champions League. From a goalkeepers union point of view, that was the biggest save.
Yeah, and now here we are, and the challenge is different. Interesting to see Pep in his presser yesterday where he says, we'll get into it, I'm sure, later on, where he says basically it was so tough to win that, how hard will it be to defend? Easy, he joked. Well, we shall see. We shall see. We've already had a flavour from FG down at pitchside. Let's take you down there because he's got the all-important team news and news of a full debut.
Yes, welcome back to Pitside. Here is your Manchester City starting 11 for the defending UEFA Champions League champions. Here we go. In goal, it's Ederson. Then we have Kyle Walker, new contract and the captain's armband. Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake and a start for Sergio Gomez. We've got Rodri, Bernardo and Núñez making his full debut. Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland. The substitutes for Man City today is Ortega, Carson, Calvin Phillips, Jeremy Doku, who scored his first goal and got man of the match at the weekend, Josko Vardiol, Akanji, Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis. Now, joining me pitchside is none other than Kit. Kit, welcome back. Firstly, you've seen the starting 11. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's exciting. We thought there could be a couple of changes coming in. It's a very, very strong team still, and it's a great opportunity for some people.
It's the return of the UCL. How excited are you feeling?
Yeah, well, fantastic. Obviously, after winning it last season, we know it's achievable now. and I think everyone's focused on doing it again.
Let's talk about the starting 11. Let's move back to it. And Kyle Walker, who's wearing the captain's armband, who was famous all over social media, you even said it before, an incredible announcement and a well-deserved contract that everyone's so happy about.
That's right, there's a little bit of talk in the summer about him potentially leaving, but I think everyone connected with the club, players, fans, staff alike, will be delighted that he's signed a new contract, and he's playing probably as well as he's ever played at the moment as well.
There was a moment in the game at the weekend where he showed his true pace at his age. Is that something that, like, some people don't give him enough credit for, as mental as it sounds, because he is astonishingly quick at his age, isn't he?
Well, for his age, exactly. I mean, he's always been very quick, but you know, sort of you expect quick players to start losing it a little bit and maybe adapting their game, but he's still as rapid as ever, and he saw for England also in the week, you know, scoring his first goal for them with a burst down the right side. So he's got electric pace still, and no signs of slowing up at all.
You wouldn't want to be a winger facing against him, would you? And he's also wearing the captain's armband. He seems to be a really, really well-respected member of the squad. He's one of the captains, and he's a leader, isn't he?
Well, he is, and like you say, they've got the 5 captains now within there, and they're all strong. It's a really strong group, you know, and it's great for them, for the young players coming in. It's a really solid, sort of nucleus of senior players there who are very well respected by the manager. I was reading somewhere that the players go to Bernardo Silva if they want a day off, because he's got such a great relationship with Pep. So that's fantastic. You know, if you got that, these players will basically run the changing room, save Pep a job.
So 5 captains. Let me talk to you about your managerial career as well. Is that something that every manager would? Is it a dream for a manager to have 5 people that you can turn to all the time, or is it just sometimes a bit like, well, we just have the one captain, the vice captain, and then we get on?
Yeah, I think it's the ideal situation to have, certainly if you've got almost like this leadership group and there's not one person necessarily in charge and doing all the leading. There's a group of them, and you know, everyone buys into the team ethos, and it's like I say, it's almost a perfect storm when it comes together, and it's when it's working, just, you know, ride the wave.
Long may it continue. Let's touch on the new signings. Let's talk on Nunes, who's making his full debut. We saw a little cameo from him. He came on when the score was level at the weekend. An impressive signing. He's got really, really good capabilities, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and I think he's almost signed for potential as well, what he's going to become rather than what he actually is now. He's a very, very good player now, as we all know, but I think he will fit into the City way, and he'll develop and learn a lot from the training with this group of players, and from getting experiences like tonight and playing as well. So I think there's a lot to come from him.
Absolutely. Now we're back here with the defending champions. This place is a fortress. The players, how much of an added confidence does it add, not only from the performance of the weekend, but also being the defending champions of a trophy that was so difficult to get our hands on? Things sort of will be changed in that dressing room mentality-wise, won't they?
Well, it will, but I think, and it's, you know, it's very hard to once you've won it. Everyone says it's hard to defend it, but I think there's a flip side to that, and once people know they can win it, because we have won it, they know they can do it again. So no, I think it's a real positive, and I think everyone will be looking forward to it.
Well, absolutely. Now, we know that you've got some experience playing with Serbia, with Wales, so we're going to touch on that a little bit later on in the show. So me and Kit will be back, but let's head back to the studio for now.
Great stuff, FG and Kit. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back with them very shortly. Now, we know about City. We're going to get into those team selections with the squad very, very shortly. We want to know a little bit more about Red Star Belgrade, though, tonight. So we've got a couple of special guests with us tonight, Kiki and Drago. Kiki looks super cool in the sunglasses. I'm really enjoying that. We'll introduce you fully very shortly. Now, you've been involved in the music scene in Serbia, and David James knows you very well. And we need to explain why. You are going to love this. Roll VT.
It actually got sent through on the group. I was drinking a cup of coffee at the time, and
Spat
it
it
went
out.
absolutely all over the place. So I had to make myself another cup of coffee, and I sat down and I watched it over and over again. I thought it was amazing to actually look at it.
The irony is that's not a music video, that's just a night out in Serbia with David James and these two. Firstly, lads, we'll get to you. Explain yourself.
Okay, it's a bit of a long story. So Drago was with me in a free kick competition in Houston back in, I think, 2007, 2006, 2008. 2008, yeah. Drago's a goalkeeper himself.
Okay.
The likes of Messi and Ronaldinho were there. I was fortunate enough.
Easy.
Well, I won. It was good. Ironically, Ronaldinho then scored a free kick against me in the Europa League the following season. But don't forget that. And then we kept friends. And Kiki, this superstar musician, asked me with Drago to go and do the video in a coffee bar, I think it was, or somewhere in Belgrade at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Looks every inch the rock star. Is that how you'd sum him up?
Oh yeah, without doubt. This guy's a legend, and it was an honour for me to be involved in his video. And I have to say, I think the three of us were the only ones without wigs on in the whole video.
Drago, I think we can throw to you. What's your favourite memories of David James? I mean, for me, it's obviously that music video, but I know you know him well.
I mean, through my football career and my agent career, I met so many people, but what I can really say that Jamo is one of the best person that I ever met in my life. So whenever I speak with him or text him or change some jokes or messages, these are all beautiful memories, and I cannot separate. But okay, Free Kick Master was one amazing event, but all football stars from all over the world came to shoot the free kicks. Jamo was the best goalkeeper. And that was a day when we met personally. Then we continued our friendship. And other thing is with recording video with my band is something amazing and something that nobody did, not only in Serbia, but I don't know how many rock bands in the world had that opportunity to have such a star and such a great person in their video like a guest.
Yeah, David, was that your natural hair in that video? It's big.
That was big. GBH, great big hair. Yeah.
The good old days. It's now tucked under your cap.
Indeed, yeah.
We're just having one or two issues with Kiki's sound. So, Drago, I'm going to come back to you. Okay. Actually, we'll try and go to you, Kiki. This is your band. Is it Pilotus? Pilots?
Pilots, Circle Pilots, Kiki Latchem Pilots. Drago is playing keyboards with us. And it was such a nice opportunity to meet a beautiful guy, this nice cham. We adore him as a goalkeeper and on the Liverpool. And beautiful evening and amazing video. Anyway, people couldn't believe that he came there, and we spent 2 days spending beautiful 2 days. And Jamo is one of the best chums I ever met.
Wow. Praise indeed, Jamo. And we're lucky enough to have him with us while you join us on a video call. And I have to say, I'm not just saying it because you're with us live tonight. It's quite a good song.
Thank you, mate. It's could be translated as a crowded house.
Yeah.
It's sort of a funky dance.
Yeah.
But we started as a punk band in the 81, yeah.
It's quite a change of sound. There's not much punk in that.
It's a bit, after 40 years,
disco funk.
We change a bit.
Yeah, well, it's great. Now, guys, we're going to keep you with us tonight because when we get the Red Star Belgrade team, we're going to come to you because I think the level of excellence and understanding of the Red Star Belgrade team, I'm speaking myself here, would we agree, is maybe not as in-depth as it is for the Manchester City.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not as good as these two.
Yeah, so we're going to need your input. I know that, Kiki, you're a big Red Star fan, and Drago, you've had some dealings with them as an agent in the past, is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I took 3 coaches in last, let's say, 18 years to Red Star. Walter Zengas, Denek Zeman, and Slaviša Stojanovic were my clients, where I took them there like an agent. Also, one of my clients had the opportunity to play against Jamo while Jamo was in Iceland. And that was another time that I met Jamo in Belgrade. If you remember, we went to a museum, Jamo. And to Nikola Tesla Museum, yeah. Jamo was not like other football players. He likes art and museums, and I had some players as well in Red Star. And Kiki is like a VIP person and rock star in Serbia. He's also a member of assembly of Red Star. So when they make some decisions, they call Kiki to raise or not raise hand.
Not so much.
Okay, well,
yeah,
we've got the expert for tonight when we find out more about Red Star in a little bit. Yeah. Gents, we're going to leave it there for now, but we'll bring you back in a little bit later on. It's so lovely hearing you speak so highly about the great man in the studio here. Jamo, wow. I'll tell you what, let's us three focus on the Manchester City team, which FG and Kit Simons brought to us a while ago. Behind me, I don't know if you can see this, we've got Jeremy Doku. He was so good against West Ham at the weekend, but he's not in the starting team. What's your reaction to that, Steph?
I think it's not probably surprising, to be honest. I think obviously he's just arrived at Manchester City in the last couple of weeks. He played at home last week and he played against West Ham. He had a really good performance, but I think this is where it really starts the season, where you're playing 3 games a week, and the strength that Pep has is he's got great strength in depth in his squad, and he can rotate players. He can give him a little bit of a break to be ready for the weekend. But I mean, his performance and this goal alone, he was really direct in his play. He likes his 1v1 battles, and to have an end product as well. He showed some real promising signs on Saturday against West Ham.
Yeah, he's a different prospect, Jamo, to what we've seen at Manchester City recently. You think Mahrez would always cut inside. Grealish often cuts inside. When was the last time Manchester City had a player like Jeremy Doku?
I want to say Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Possibly. What's interesting is Steph touched upon it there. I mean, the first game I thought he tried too hard. I think this game he looked confident, and in post-match interview I think he referred to Pep telling him to enjoy himself. And you could see that in the game. Surprised that he didn't start today. I mean, we were talking about it before we went on air, and how many changes there were going to be. I think, was it three changes? I thought there'd be more.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he will get an opportunity at some point.
Well, it's a really strong team, Stephen. We look defensively, there's a couple of changes. Ake and Gomez coming in, Guardiola and Akanji have rotated out. What's your reaction to that?
Again, I don't think that we're kind of massively surprised, and I don't think it's a change which we think, oh, maybe shouldn't have done this and shouldn't have done that. I think the players that's come in, we all know, are absolutely excellent players. They're coming into the team, and it's always with all the players at City. You know, it's a seamless kind of way of just bringing the team in. You don't seem to, it's weird, but you don't seem to, miss the lads that go out. I mean, you look at the 3 main players that City are missing as well. And yet they're still producing, good performances and, of course, crucial victories.
Ultimately, solid performances as well. The defence has been really impressive this season, Steph.
Yeah, I think no matter who has been playing in defence, I think the way that Manchester City play, they like to control, and they like to control attacks and the counter-attacks. And obviously West Ham, they were probably disappointed with the goal that Ward-Prowse scored, but ultimately they know that they've got strength in numbers going forward. But a lot of it does start by being good defensively, and we talk about Ake coming into the team. He was fantastic for Manchester City last season, and there's real strength and depth in that area. I think you've got John Stones that is out, that's another one to come in, but ultimately this gives Pep an opportunity to rotate players and to give them an opportunity, and they're not bad replacements either when you're taking Akanji and Guardiola out the team and you're bringing in Ake and Gomez, who had a really good pre-season, maybe played a little bit further forward but can play in that left back position.
Yeah, so Walker starts as captain. Bernardo Silva is in the starting team as well, Jamo. Both of them linked with moves in the summer. Both of them still here. And interesting to hear Pep Guardiola talking about both of them as irreplaceable in his press conference yesterday. Yeah,
I think a lot, I talked about this on the weekend, I think a lot of the hype around Kyle Walker leaving was other people trying to cause a problem, because he was part of that captain, that group, leadership group, if you like, I think right from the beginning of pre-season. You wouldn't be given that role if there was an intention.
If there was any doubt.
To be, yeah. And like the guys were saying, I mean, old, was he 30, 33?
33, he's a young man.
Wow, I can't remember when I was 33. Yeah, no, I just think that the way Bernardo Silva plays, he's back to that level. Again, as you said, he was another one who was targeted with a move. But I think you got treble-winning team, chance to defend all 3 titles, 4 titles if you want to add the League Cup in there. Who wouldn't want to be part of that?
Already got the one trophy in the bag as well with the European Super Cup this season.
Yeah, it's not a bad start. And I think what's impressive as well is I think, City sometimes have started the season not brilliantly. And I think it was Kyle Walker who give a speech to the lads before the start of the season about how important it is. Look how well we do through the season, but beginning of the season probably has to improve. So obviously he's come out and he's given a big speech to the boys, and have started the season fantastically well. I mean, it's the quality there is for all to see. And I think even if you look at the West Ham game, West Ham playing really well under David Moyes. They're full of confidence. They go a goal down, but just listening to a lot of people, a lot of pundits and a lot of fans, and just like my friends and whoever watches Man City, even at 1-0 down, and a team that's a difficult place to go to, a team that's playing really well, you just don't think there's any doubt that City's not going to come back. And of course, they do.
Well, they've started very well. We just saw in those pictures, Steph, all the players coming off the coach and walking past the trophy with the big ears, the European Cup. That's going to be inspiring as they head into a new season.
Yeah, of course. I think as a player, when you win trophies and you win trophies like the Champions League, you want to have that feeling again. And they worked so hard to get that treble last year, and it'd been a long time talked about Manchester City winning that Champions League trophy. So I'm sure the ambition is exactly the same, to have more nights like we did last season at the Etihad, because we were unbelievable at home. That was really set us on our way to winning that trophy.
I've really enjoyed Julian Alvarez this season playing in that position behind Erling Haaland. They work so well together. Still Haaland scoring the lion's share of the goals, but that's an impressive combo, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a nice fit for two of the. I think last season it was more difficult, even though they had so much success. Where Erling Haaland essentially doesn't score many goals from outside the box to start with, but he doesn't actually take many shots outside the box, whereas Alvarez can take shots outside the box. And I think now they've got that understanding, that movement is worked. If it goes inside, it's for Haaland. If it's outside, perhaps Alvarez. Can I just say one thing?
Please.
Was it me, or does Guardiola look like FG?
I've never seen them together.
They just they've never been seen in the same place together.
Can we try and get Guardiola and FG standing next to each other pitch side, if possible? If not tonight, at some point this season. It's a great shout. Dead ringers? Any others? Have you ever been a dead ringer for anyone?
I don't think anybody's unfortunate.
No, I didn't want to say it.
Quite honest. But just talking about that partnership, how it works really well is, as a defender, as a central defender, because Alvarez plays in that little pocket, a central defender does not want to go in there. And he knows if he does go in there, then there's a gap. Yes, of course, you can get the other three defenders and be nice and tight, but it happens sometimes so quickly. It just leaves a nice gap for Haaland for the rest of the players to play them balls down the sides for him to get in. So I think it's a partnership which, for me, this season looks, well, a hell of a lot better. That's been proven, but it's actually scary to think how well it actually is going to get.
Just seeing Haaland doing what Haaland does. This was this time last year in the 4-0 over Sevilla. That laid down a marker at the start of a Champions League season. No doubt Pep will want the team to do the same again. He's named a team that can go out and win this by a bit of a margin, you'd think, Steph.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the team that Pep has selected shows a huge sign of respect to Red Star, and I think for me, that kind of sets his intention for the rest of the season. The Champions League, you have to start well in these group stages, and at home, like I previously said, we were really good at home last season and picking up them points, and I think you want to kind of get qualified as quick as you can, and it does start tonight. And with this group of players, that's what makes them so special. They'll just want to keep going and keep winning football games, because we said last season we didn't start as well, but this season it's been pretty much the perfect start, and hopefully that continues tonight.
Haaland scoring another one. He loves the goals in the Champions League, and he loves playing at the Etihad. Is it 7 hat-tricks for City? All have come at home. This is the kind of game that he'll have ringed in his calendar, isn't it, JMO?
It is. Again, we're sort of going back to what we were saying before we went on the show. I mean, how does Pep approach this? Because if he puts a full-strength side out, then everyone's expecting 6-7 goals, some even 7-1. I'm not saying who, Chris.
We'll go through our sweepstakes so that everyone knows where we are and we're all on the same page shortly.
But at the same time, if you mix it up too much, then you can end up with a scrappy 1 or 2-0, which people will then start asking questions. And I think the side he's picked is absolutely strong enough. And like you said, Erling Haaland must be getting off that bus going, I've got room in my my new extension for another match ball.
Yeah, tonight's the night. I mean, I'm just going to go through the scores that we said in that little unofficial sweepstake before we came on air tonight. Is there the danger that we're perhaps looking beyond Red Star Belgrade? Let me read out these scores. So, Steve, you came in, you reckon 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
Although these aren't quite exactly what everyone thought, because you all went for the same score, I think, and then you went one way and he went the other. Steph, you've gone for 5-0.
5-0, yeah.
JMO?
6-0.
You went 6-0, and then I thought 7-1. And the thing that caught me is that no one reacted to the fact that I think City will score 7. Everybody in the studio and from the team, they went, Red Star going to get 1? How's that? Are we taking them a little lightly?
Well, clearly you are. With the 7, but I tell you what, if they do score 7, I'll be absolutely delighted, as we all will be. But yeah, I mean, that would be a fantastic start for them. I don't think, ultimately it's a team playing in the Champions League, and I don't think you can take anybody lightly. I think when we look at the team, obviously Pep hasn't. I think obviously when they get to the stage where they've qualified for the next round, and that's guaranteed, I think that's when the manager might play some of the younger lads and just give them a bit more Champions League experience. But I think tonight, for me, it was always going to be a relatively, if not a very strong team, just to put that marker down to sort of saying, yes, we're champions, and this is how we intend to go.
Great stuff. Right, so we've got Steve, we've got Steph, we've got JMO. We want you to join us tonight. You can get in touch on WhatsApp, and we've had our first message. Laura's got in touch. Come on, City boys. You can do that. But if you've got any questions for the squad, for me, get them in on the WhatsApp. You can see it on the bottom of the screen right there. Come and join us on the show. Now, tonight, our commentary is going to come from Alistair Mann and Kit Simons. And Kit is with FG. I think it's time we focused on Red Star Belgrade, don't you?
Yes, welcome back to Pitchside. It's time to reveal Red Star Belgrade, the visiting team starting 11. Apologies in advance if I get any of the names mispronounced. But let's start with the goalkeeper. That's Glazer. Mihalovic is at right back. Then we have Žiga Dragovic, who you might have seen at Leicester at some point through his career. Rodic, Hwang, Stamenic, Bukari, Ivanic, Mitrovic, and Ndai. I'm back Pitchside with Kit. Kit, we spoke earlier on. Let's head straight to it about your experience against Serbia when you were with Wales. What do you remember about the style of play and overall football in that region?
Yeah, we're a very strong team then. The likes of Ivanovic, Kolarov, obviously Tosic, Tadic, Mitrovic, very strong team. I remember we got spanked 6-1 away from home, which was one of our lowest points for Wales, but was also a turning point. But very good technical players as a rule. Obviously tough, very tough boys as well. So, yeah, it won't be an easy task tonight.
It won't be, and we've got both the Manchester weather with us, as you can see as well. Is it easier for them to come here as underdogs? It can be quite daunting. It is, of course, the first game in the group as well. So, is it just a case of underdogs free hit?
Yeah, I think when you say easier, they are underdogs. They will expect to get nothing, but I also expect them to get nothing. So, they'll come. It is, like you say, a bit of a free hit, really. So they've got nothing to lose. They're not in great form in the league either, so they won't be expecting too much tonight.
Yeah, 2 out of the 3 they've lost in the league. They did beat Liverpool in 2018, though, so we have got to be a little bit wary about that, haven't we?
Well, that's right, and they've won the competition going back to the old-style European Cup in '91, so they've got a pedigree. They're obviously at home domestically. They're very, very strong. Win the league most seasons. But I expect City to have too much for them tonight.
When you're looking at their home record on their home form, that's vital for this group, isn't it? We've heard a lot about the atmosphere there, the atmosphere they'll bring. Are they going to be reliant on their home form, do you think, in this?
Yeah, I would think so. It'll be I was going to say a partisan home crowd, but you can't really say that when it's Red Star, can you? But they'll certainly get behind the team, and there's obviously all the fireworks and the pyro and stuff, and it's a lively atmosphere over there for sure.
And when you were growing up as well, what were they like? I mean, you touched on you knew a bit about the derbies and stuff there as well. What were they like growing up?
Yeah, well, they're one of the big names in European football, and I mean they even got a mention in a Billy Bragg song, so they must be top side, you know. So they've certainly, like I say, got a pedigree, and yeah, growing up they were one of the more established teams in European football.
And let's talk about their starting 11 real quick. We'll talk about one man, and that's Dragovic, who's in at centre half. Represented Austria. You've played against him as well as manager in the managing team of Wales. He was at Leicester. It didn't quite work out, but he was very good at Leverkusen as well. He's got really, really good strengths, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's a real leader for Austria. Good player, and they'll be looking for him to marshal that back line tonight. There'll be a lot of pressure on him, a lot of onus on him to try and keep the team together.
I mean, this is probably the hardest question in football, but how do you stop a front three of Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland?
Good luck, yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. There'll be a lot of pressure on him tonight to try and just marshal his back line, keep them together. Whether they play a back four or they've at times switched to 3 centre-backs this season as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if at some stage they do that.
They do like to have a lot of the ball, etc. They won't probably have as much of the ball. Do you think they're going to still play with their style in today's game, or do you think it's just going to be let's sit back, let's try not to concede, and let's just see how the game takes us?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to come here and really take the game to City would be very brave, bordering on foolish, to be honest. So I don't think they'll attempt that. I'd expect them to sit off and try and be compact and resolute and make it as difficult as possible. But we've seen City find a way to break teams down when they do that as well.
Well, Kit, it's been an absolute pleasure. I enjoyed hearing about your time as well, and we'll hear from you again soon. Let's head back to the studio.
Quick round of applause for Josko Gvardiol, everyone. How good is he at pitch-side reporting? And he's perfected the Manchester accent so quickly. FG looks a bit like Josko Gvardiol. That was JMO's shout from earlier. Well, there you go. One of the names that I was looking out for has actually been left out of the starting team is Crasso, who scores their goals. We'll get onto that shortly, but I think we need to have a quick look. This is the Red Star players arriving a little bit earlier on. And I know, waiting in the wings, we've got our Red Star Belgrade special guests. Drago and Kiki are still with us. Guys, we're going to hand straight over to you because you know this team way better than any of us four. Kiki, we'll start with you. What do you make of that starting team for Red Star Belgrade? It's a tough ask for the team tonight.
I don't know. It's as far as I heard, you're not so optimistic about my Red Star team, but
sorry about that.
Yeah. It's no. If you wanna mess with the best, you got to cope with it. I hope that the guys will do more than they expected, and there is a lot of new 8 or 9 new players, which is quite amazing for this season. You know, I don't know how much they play with each other, how much they spend time together, but I don't know. I think that guys will give the best and trying to survive this very first match, which is unbelievable. You know, for us is it's like a nightmare. You know,
it sounds like you're living your nightmare, Kiki. Sorry.
Yeah, because it should be much better if you have a first match with young boys. I think.
Of course. Anyone fancy the chances against young boys against men? Drago, can you tell us a bit about Alexander Dragovic, the captain? I know he played in the Premier League with Leicester. He's one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah, he's probably most important player of the team for the last few years since he came to Red Star, the player who brought that extra quality to the team, bringing all experience from Austrian national team, Bundesliga, England, and he's captain of the team, and by my opinion, the most important person in the team and in the locker room. And as Kiki told, Red Star brought 7-8 new players this year. And then, they play first game against Manchester City, which is what I believe may be the strongest team in the last 10 years in the world. But the way they play, they play against strongest opponent, if I remember, game against Real Madrid from the last year. And so it was, whatever happens tonight, it cannot be Red Star, I think, can't be humiliated, because it's the same if I go boxing with Mike Tyson and he wins in the first round. I'm not humiliated. It's normal to lose, but they have to do the best they can to play, to be organized, and to try to survive 90 minutes in the best possible way. That's how I see it realistically. That's the reality. So let's hope.
Yeah, there's one name that has leapt out for me is the winger Usman Bakari. Drago, is he someone that we could get quite excited to see?
Yeah, he is a very interesting player, very fast player with excellent solutions in in the opposite side of the field. The both the wingers tonight, Mitrovic and Bukhari, they're very fast, and probably the coach knows that Red Star will defend almost all the game, and they should try to make something on counter-attack with fast wingers.
Yeah, but no Jean-Philippe Crasso, who scored all the goals, Kiki. He's on the subs bench.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he's not playing. But I think that for this game, the coach also changed the formation. He was playing 3-5-2 mostly in Championship with 3 defenders on the back. Now he plays with 4, as I see from the formation, probably 4-2-3-1. And that's the reason maybe he didn't let space for Crasso. Ivanic is playing like in the middle, and Niang in the eye, like centre forward.
Yeah. Kiki, let's focus on something slightly more positive for Red Star Belgrade. Is their European pedigree. I'll take you back to 1991. You'd have been in your prime, no doubt, as a rock star from Serbia, or Yugoslavia as it was back then. What are your memories of that famous night?
It was beautiful. We expected to win, and we did it somehow. It was not easy. French was very good, and so I don't know. It's a beautiful evening in Italy, in Bari, and after that we won the Colo-Colo, which is a Colombian team, as a world champion. Chile. Sorry, and this is a prime time of Red Star. Actually, it's very good players. We are hoping to get some of this, glory back again. For us, it's very important to be in Champions League, which is not easy. Too many good teams, and I know it's our goal is to survive there. That's it.
Yeah, JMO, you'll remember that 1991 final, beat Marseille after a 0-0.
Oh yeah.
Chris Waddle, Jean-Pierre Papin in that Marseille team. It was a good win. And actually, that one European Cup success has them on a par with Manchester City. They both have one.
I reckon one of those 2 teams will have a better chance of winning it again, though.
Yes,
and that's
possibly.
not Red Star. No,
Football has moved on slightly.
Yeah, no, it's interesting what Kiki's saying, because obviously this is at the Etihad, but you go to Belgrade, and I think it's called the Maracanã, isn't it? Or it's referred to as Maracanã. I mean, what an atmosphere, what a stadium. I did send some in the group chat, some videos of the fireworks going off during the game. I'm not sure whether the Red Star fans will have fireworks at the Etihad. Hopefully not for
hopefully not, but you wouldn't be completely surprised if you see the footage of Red Star's fans. They're a bonkers bunch, aren't they, Kiki?
Yeah.
That'll do. What a great answer. Let's have a little look. We've asked people for their WhatsApps. In fact, I can't do that because it's not loading, so I'm not going to bring that up. But what I will do is ask you, Drago, just tell us a little bit about some of the players from that era. I remember Robert Prosinecki because he went on to play for Portsmouth in the Premier League, but there was a couple of big names from that 91 team.
Yeah, Prosinecki went to Real Madrid, Barcelona. He played in both teams. Then it was Dejan Savicevic from Milan, famous goal against Barcelona in Champions League final. Then Darko Pančev, striker, was a Golden Boot that year. Then Vlada Jugovic, who played in Lazio, Atletico Madrid, Juve, Inter. Then it was Sinisa Mihajlovic, famous player who unfortunately died this year. Yeah, he was in Lazio, in Inter. He was one of the best free kick shooters of all time. And then it was in defense, it was Belo Dedic, the player who won Champions League with Steaua Bucharest as well. And he was famous libero. Goalkeeper was Stojanovic, captain, who saved the penalty in the final. I mean, I can tell you all.
Drago, you're like a human Wikipedia for that team.
That game, let's say, predicted the rest of my life because, I was a 9-year-old child. I'm watching that final game like this. Goalkeeper saved the penalty, and I decided to become goalkeeper. Thanks to.
Wow. Well, there you go. And then you got to meet David James. What a beautiful, a beautiful life change that was for you. Guys, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Can I just ask you both what your score prediction is? Because I don't think we've been particularly kind to Red Star Belgrade. What do you expect tonight, Kiki?
I don't know. let's say maybe 0-0.
0-0. A gallant 0-0, Drago.
0-0.
Somebody told 5-0, and I would be happy with that.
Okay. Okay. Right. Well, Drago, Kiki, thank you for coming into our studio.
Thank you, guys. Nice to be with you.
Thank you for bringing that amazing video of David James into our lives as well. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Jamo, and Jamo, see you in Montenegro.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, Jamo.
I'll see you soon.
See you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just so you guys know, Drago was very keen for David James to come and join him again. He asked him off air, he's now asked him on air. You've got to go.
I've got to go.
You've got to go.
I'm going.
Right, I'm going to book the tickets. But we're going to head down to pitch side now because FG/Josko Guardiola has got a special guest with him. FG.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Joining me pitchside is none other than Manchester City legend Joleon Lescott. Joleon looking great, as always. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while.
I feel like the last time was when we won a trophy, which was the Super Cup, wasn't it?
Well, it's not that long ago then, yeah. Long may that continue.
Long may it continue, indeed. Speaking about winning trophies, we are the defending champions of the UEFA Champions League. How good does that sound?
Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? And it sounds very special. Very special.
Very special indeed. Now, our group, let's talk about our opponents today, Red Star Belgrade. It's in a way, it's a good sort of start to the group, isn't it? It's nice to be at home at the Etihad. It's nice to be under the lights, you know, as always. And there's a different feel about this competition at this club now, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important that the game was at home. Obviously, having winning the competition last season, so gives the fans an opportunity to celebrate with the players that were part of that last season. But yeah, the group in general is pretty safe for us. I definitely thought we were going to be favourites regardless of who we was drawn against, but seeing the teams now, I'm more confident that we top the group and go through.
It's obviously been a summer of change at Manchester City. We had a great year last year, but we have refreshed. We saw a little bit of Jeremy Doku at the weekend, and he was lightning, wasn't he? The last time we saw him at the Etihad, it wasn't quite like that, but that was an electric display.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's more to come over his time here. We shouldn't be surprised by that. He's been doing it in France, and the times I've seen him in Anderlecht as well. So Vinny was very singing his praise very highly when I seen him many years ago. But listen, he's an exciting player, different dimension to the attack, different threat. So yeah, hopefully he can continue the way he's started.
Let's talk about Josko Guardiola as well. How do you think he's settled? A man who plays, you know, along the back four. He looks like he's been there for years, doesn't he?
Yeah, again, I said it the other day to a group of fans. I think he's fitted in so seamlessly, similar to Akanji in regards to just coming in, looking like he's been part of the team, part of the club for so many years, and that's credit to him as an individual, but also the system and the players around him that they've made him feel so comfortable that he can play to his full potential, and we're seeing that.
We are indeed. It's been, obviously last year was so special. Let's talk about the vibe about this competition of potentially creating a legacy. We could be the first English club to potentially retain the UEFA Champions League. It's going to be a big test, but this group of players looks capable, don't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past this group of players. I think it's very early to be looking like that. I think even last year it was very early before the first ball's been kicked in the competition to talk about winning, so to talk about retaining it now, it seems a long way away. I'm sure the players have an element of foresight in regards to retaining it, but their focus will be on tonight and qualifying at the groups, and that's what it should be. However that's done in regards to performances, just get through the groups and then you can assess where you are. And obviously we're aware there's a break over Christmas, and then things change, squads change in January, and all of a sudden you could be looking at a different opposition in Europe regarding to some of the powers, to some of the teams that want to win it themselves. So there's a long way to go, but yeah, let's just enjoy last year's success and hopefully tonight's result.
As a player playing in the Champions League, is it about game by game, or is it we take the group as a whole and look at every opposition?
Yeah, group as a whole. Again, you try and take confidence game by game, but the objective right now is to qualify at the groups, and I'm sure we'll do that. I'm sure we'll top the groups, and I think over recent years it's proved pivotal that you do top the group. Obviously it's key for us that we're not able, like other teams, are not able to face teams from the domestic leagues, but I think with the threat that some of the teams pose from England, from the Premier League, is vitally important. So yeah, it's important that we top the group and go through.
Absolutely. So how do you see the game going tonight then? So I mean, we're very, very good at home in the Champions League, or in general as well.
Yeah, let's say we're very good at home.
It's a bit of a fortress, this place. Under the lights, it's an absolute joy as well. How do you see the game going?
Yeah, I think it'd be tight early on, but I'm still confident that we we win. Listen, they're not great away from home. I think they've lost their last 6 away games in the Champions League, so it poses well that we'll win tonight. I'm confident, should I say, that we score a magnitude of goals, 3-4 goals, and as I said, I'm not taking that for granted, but yeah, I think it'll be a comfortable night.
You know what, it's always a joy speaking to you because you make me feel so much better about it. Pleasure to speak to you again, Julian. Let's head back to Chris and everyone in the studio.
Thank you guys, FG, Julian, having a good time down on pitch side, aren't they? Look, we've got the WhatsApp questions coming in. I've managed to figure out my tablet now and it's working. So I'm going to throw this one straight to you, Steve. We've got Matheus Nunes making his full debut for City. We saw him off the bench against West Ham at the weekend. And Pep has talked about Nunes possibly being able to play in one of 3 positions, full-back, wing, midfield. What do you expect we'll see him in this full debut?
I think it could be more midfield for me, but again, I could be completely wrong. I think when it comes to Pep, you just don't know. I mean, let's be honest, any of the teams that he picks and you see people moving in different positions. So I think it'll be more midfield, but I wouldn't be surprised if he moves about. In all fairness, I would expect him to not be stuck in that position. I expect him to be moving about. But
no one stays still in this City team, do they?
You're not allowed to stay still. But very, very talented player. I think obviously Pep's had his eye on him for a while. I think, was he at Sporting Lisbon?
Yeah, and he made those comments.
And he made a couple of remarks about him. So obviously he's been on Pep's radar for a while. And I think for me, even though he's a very, very good player, I think everybody will admit, when you go to, and this is no disrespect to Wolves players or Wolves, but when you go into the highest standard of player, your standards have to be raised as well. And if you look at every player that's come in under Pep has got better. And I think he'll get better, which is frightening, really, because he's already a very good player.
Yeah, and as Pep says, might be able to play in 3 positions. Steph, there's one for you as well. It's from Kylie. Question for Super Steph, she says. Captain fantastic. Brackets. I'll ask about the men, though. She's my captain. Women are my team. Who do you think is going to be key in controlling the game tonight?
I think for me, it's got to be Rodri. I think he had an unbelievable season last season in general, but especially in the Champions League. I think physically, in terms of how he breaks up the play, how he gets around the pitch and he protects the back 4, the back 3. But also with the ball, I think when you play teams like Red Star who are potentially going to sit in and be a bit deeper, I think you need someone that's able to move the ball and break lines, and he certainly does that. So for me, I think he's got a massive part to play in tonight's game, but not just tonight, the rest of the season.
He is a player that TV doesn't do justice. I was watching him at West Ham. He never overtouches with his first touch, instant control. But just the way that he controls the game, every single pass goes through him.
He's just so intelligent, and I think he always is that little bit of a step ahead of everybody else, and I think that's why he plays in that 6th position. And throughout the whole of the club, that 6th position is one position where you need someone that can read the game, that's intelligent, but can do the defensive work and can go forward. And I think now he's popping up with a few goals in the league as well, which is fantastic because he's been probably given a licence to do that because Kovacic has come in. So it'll be interesting to see where he kind of is placed really tonight, but I expect him to be in front of that back 4 doing what he normally does.
Yeah, great stuff, Steph. Now, just while we were with FG pitch side, JMO leaned in and went, I'm feeling like I might want to change my score
I never
prediction.
said that.
He suggested he might, but we're not going to. You're sticking to it. I'm sticking to 7-1. We live and breathe by those predictions. But we've all sort of tipped City to score 4 or 5. It's exactly what the EDS, the Elite Development Squad, did earlier on. They also played Red Star Belgrade, their under-19 team, in the newly named Joy Stadium, just over there. And they were really, really impressive. There were goals from Will Dixon, Kane Taylor, Jaden Heskey, and 2 from Emilio Lawrence. And we caught up after the match with the manager, Brian Barry Murphy.
Brian, 5-2 win against Red Star Belgrade in our opening UEFA Youth League campaign. Pretty good result.
Yeah, over the moon really, Neil. My instant reaction is I would never take for granted any achievement like this in Europe because of the level of competition, and we had so many difficult games and experiences last season that I know that when you get any type of performance and result like today, you have to really appreciate it because of the work that's gone into it.
I mean, we spoke beforehand, didn't we, that it was a new group of players largely this season, very young, you know, a lot of inexperience there, but I mean that was a really mature performance in lots of ways.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's easy to underestimate the level of challenge. I think we don't know how good the opponents were, and we saw in the first half they caused us plenty of problems. And I thought there was probably signs of nerves on our part in the first half in some of our play, but the lads grew into the game, and a lot of the things that we did in the second half were stuff that we had planned and worked on, and will be very important for us to show going forward.
I mean, so many individual highlights for you to sort of reflect on. Could I ask you about Emilio? 2 goals and assists, and a really impressive all-round display.
Yeah, and making rapid progress because he had a very complicated season last season with shoulder surgery. So I think he's still trying to find himself, but his courage and the way he expressed himself in the second half was very good. I think probably in a similar fashion to the team, you can see there's a lot of work to do, and as long as we're willing to do that, then we'll be fine.
Looks like that belief and sort of understanding is really growing with each game with these young lads as well. Would that be fair to say?
I think we're making small steps now. I think I don't want to be boring by saying there's a lot of work to do, but there is. I think that goes from game to game. You know, it was only 3 or 4 weeks ago we lost the game 5-0 and 4-4, so we understand where we are. But the lads are showing signs that they're willing to bounce back and to improve all the time, which is all you can ask for, and probably the most exciting part of the job for me.
And obviously with 2 successive away games in Europe, now in Germany and Switzerland, really important to start with a win here today, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I always use what they tell us at first team. Just watch the next game, and I didn't even look at the next fixture, if I'm being honest. All of our focus was on this, and it's nice when we get members of the under-18 squad coming into our squad and trying to get that dynamic right. So this will give us a lot of belief, and hopefully create some momentum, which is important in the group stages of the Champions League, because if you make mistakes in terms of performance and lose games, it can be difficult to qualify, and that's what we want to do ultimately.
I mean, you just referenced it there, Brian. I mean, how much belief and confidence will this give the group going forward?
Well, I think it will show them that we can be competitive in these games. How competitive and how successful will depend on how much we improve, because we will need to improve, you know. But we're capable of doing that because of where we are in the season and how young the players are. That's probably the best bit, that anticipation of what's to come next.
And finally, the big games keep coming, don't they? Friday night we've got Chelsea at home in PL2, another huge occasion.
Absolutely, probably the most, arguably the most competitive games we've had against them in the last 2 seasons. So. Mark Robinson's a very good coach, and they have a calibre of player who's probably they would see as being very comparable to ours. So that'll be an intriguing test, and see how we get on that game.
Many thanks again, and many congratulations.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
And that PL2 game against Chelsea on Friday is live on City Plus, where you'll also be able to see the goals from that brilliant performance, Steph, against Red Stars under-19s. You're actually over in the Joy Stadium watching that. Emilio Lawrence looks a real talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think he came to the club last season. I think he struggled a few months with a few shoulder injuries, and seeing him in and around the building working hard to get back on the pitch, and that's what you get for all the hard work that you do behind the scenes, is a performance like that and 2 great goals as well.
Just looking at the starting team tonight, Phil Foden is playing on the bench. You've got Oscar Bobb, Rico Lewis, Cole Palmer went in a big money move to Chelsea over the summer. These youngsters, they'll be looking at their performances this season thinking, why not? There's a pathway here to go through to the first team.
Yeah, and then Steph and I were talking just a few minutes ago about thinking that maybe Rico Lewis, I thought maybe Oscar Bobb might get a nod to start the game today. But if you think of Rico Lewis last season, pre-season was pivotal for his opportunity to get into that first team fold. Oscar Bobb had a fantastic pre-season, has already featured this season, and like you said, for the best club in the world, there is actually a pathway through the academy to the first team to trophies, which I can't think of any other club that's ever kind of done that.
Barcelona maybe, but again, because of who's in charge of this club now.
Touche.
They do it, and they still do it, and it's incredible. What a club to be at if you're a young kid coming through, and Emil Heskey's lad is scoring goals. One of my mates, his son, is in a couple of age groups below, and you never know what might happen, but it's an exciting time for all of them.
I feel like I need to have some children.
Yeah, I've got a couple, but they're way off. They're way off. Now, throughout this season, we're going to look back on the treble legacy, Manchester City's historic run to win all 3 big titles last season. We're going to look back on some key moments from that treble winning season, starting with the big kick-off in the Champions League last year. Sevilla at 4-0 away. We've already seen a couple of the goals from this one tonight, guys. Erling Haaland, of course, doing what Erling Haaland does, specifically in this tournament. Let's take a quick look at the best of the action. Here we go then. So these are the goals. First time out last season, they'll be looking to do the same. It's unbelievable footwork from Phil Foden there. He starts tonight. This is the way that Manchester City will want to start out the new season we've already talked about. But what will Pep be saying to the team heading into a new season? This is what we did last season and look what we delivered at the end, Jamie.
I think it's always the sort of the difficult thing, isn't it? Do you play the group, do you play the game? I know it's a cliche when they say you've got to just play one game at a time. I think that message will come across. But again, the way that he's picked such a strong side, as you say, the likes of Phil Foden, who I think could have a field day today if he's on it. Likes of Bernardo Silva could have a field day. Yes, I mean, as I say, my moment was Ederson's save in the final. But to get to the final, it was just pure joy. Watching Manchester City dominate Europe. I mean, everyone thought they were going to win the final simply because of the performances leading up to it. And even with Cancelo there.
It's a slight difference starting this season against Red Star Belgrade. We've spoken to our two friends from Serbia who've basically said there's not much chance for Red Star tonight. A 4-0 win against Sevilla this time last season was a real marker, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, because, I mean, we all know how difficult Sevilla can be, and especially at their place as well. So to start the campaign with a 4-0 win was absolutely fantastic. And again, it everybody looks at the results, the first results coming in, and there's always a standout one. But obviously tonight with Man City in this game, if they go and do a scoreline like you say, then everybody's going to go, wow, yeah, the main business again this season. Because yes, it is difficult to win the first one. I think it's always, for me, if you can continue to get that success, that is very, very hard to actually maintain those high levels that you need to reach. And I think if they start tonight with an impressive win, I think everybody around Europe and around the world will be thinking, yeah, you wouldn't put it past them to do it again.
Yeah, individually as well, Steph, the players might be thinking, as I'm sure they do every time they go out to play for this club, for this manager, I can lay a marker for myself for this season. Thinking about, I've got a stat here, 8 of the players that started in the Seville game went on to start the final in Istanbul. And they'll be well aware, as we've talked about the stats off air earlier, City are the runaway favourites for the Champions League. So the players will know, I need to start performing right now if I want to be involved in the biggest of games.
I think that's what I admire so much about the team, is that no matter who the player, what competition they're in, the only focus is to win, and it's not about being selfish. I mean, obviously everybody would like to play, but it is a squad game, and you see with the changes that he has made, you have to be ready to take your chance. You have to be ready to play in a Champions League first group game, and I think the ultimate aim is to try and bring them trophies back to Manchester. But I think that mentality is something that the more you win, the more you have to keep doing it. And we speak about the 5 captains. You look at them as individuals and their mentality. That's why they probably are the captains of the team, because you look at Diaz every single game, whether he's on the bench or he's playing, he's given absolutely everything. You see Walker, who he leads by example with the runs that he makes and his defending. And Bernardo is one of the quiet leaders, but he's so reliable. And I think that is such a big plus for the team, is that when it comes to these games, they won't settle for anything else than a win.
I think when you're talking about leaders as well, and what Steph's sort of saying there, that even if you're not in the team, your will for the team to do well is absolutely brilliant to see. And a prime example for me for that was Kyle Walker in the final. He was an integral part in them getting to the final. The manager pulls him to one side the night before, tells him he's not going to start.
Pure heartbreak for a player,
it's devastating, because that's the biggest game, apart from World Cup final, that's the biggest game you'll play in your career. And I think Kyle was pleased in one respect that he told him the night before. I think for me, the kind of person that he is, it just shows how good it is, because he's obviously gone to bed that night, he's had to think about it, and he was the one that gave that speech before the game, which is just absolutely amazing from him. But it just goes to show how close and how connected they are as a group.
And from that point, his leadership has seemingly just got greater and greater. Kyle Walker mentioned something in his presser yesterday, JMO, where he said that Pep Guardiola did a drawing, a diagram of Manchester City at the bottom of a mountain. That was at the start of this season, off the back of winning everything they'd ever dreamed of. This season, they're at the bottom of the mountain. That's the mentality here.
Well, there's an old saying, the Sisyphean task.
A what?
A Sisyphean task. You've not heard of this?
No.
It was a guy who was eternally having to push a boulder up a hill. And once he gets to the top, the boulder is going to roll back down again. So essentially, that's what I assume.
Never stop pushing.
Yes.
Okay.
And as the two guys just said, I mean, you've got a group of players who probably aren't looking at it. I think this was a concern for a lot of people. Are they going to sit there with the treble thinking we've done it? Beginning of this season shows every intention of not having done anything and having to prove themselves all over again.
Who's the guy with the boulder?
Sisyphean. It's Sisypheus.
I was going to say something else there, but it's probably not.
No. That's not for now. I'm going to go and put my teeth in and practice saying that. Now, FG is the luckiest man tonight. He's been joined by some City royalty down at pitchside. Now, Alexander Kolarov has been watching the EDS squad tonight. So he's already seen one City team rack up 5 goals, and now he's got to put up with FG.
Well, look who is joining me pitchside. I can't believe I'm saying this. Alexander Kolarov, welcome back, mate.
Thank you, mate.
How good is it to be back?
Yeah, I'm coming quite often. It is the first time that I'm doing interview, honestly. But I came last season to see a couple of games in Champions League.
Hopefully it won't be the last interview that you do with us.
We'll see.
Let's talk about this football club now. You're a massive part of all the hard work which led to this trophy coming home. Yeah. How did it feel watching that, knowing that you were a part of the legacy?
Yeah, we were doing, I think, the great job in the past years. Then the guys and Pep in last, 10 years or how many years, they did an important job and a massive in the way that they won the Champions League and all the trophies is another level of football. So winning the titles, playing very well, I think is a top that you can reach.
Got great memories, of course, of being here at Manchester City, and you also know a lot about Red Star Belgrade, I imagine. Yeah. What is it that makes this team so special as well?
I mean, they have a great history, especially in late 80s and the 90s. They won the Champions League as well, and then because of a lot of things that have happened, they are a little bit down in the football. But in the last 6-7 years, they're starting to rebuild a little bit of the structures and all these things, and they're doing quite well for our league in Serbia. They won, I think, 6 leagues in a row, and I'm curious to see them tonight, but I think it was going to be a difficult job for them.
It will be indeed. Let's talk about your time at City real quick. Yeah. I want to know, what's your favourite moment in a City shirt? Because as fans, we remember the wonderful left foot, we remember all the great memories you gave us. What's yours personally?
Yeah, in the first place, I had I had a great legacy with all the guys. We had a great dressing room. And obviously the memories are more related to the persons. But if you're talking about the trophies, I think the first one that we won again after 50 years, the FA Cup that we won in Wembley was like first big emotion for me.
The semi-final was special as well, wasn't it?
Against United, that Yaya scored.
Scored both times, didn't he?
Exactly. So that was like, and then we won the leagues and all. Especially with QPR, all of this story. So me personally was the FA Cup that we won. We won against United in the semi-final. We knew it. If we win this game, we're going to win against Stoke. I think was the final.
It was
so we knew it. If we beat the United in semi-final, that's it. But that is my personal.
Well, we absolutely love that. We thank you for that. Still, just before we head back, can we get a message for the fans as well? Have you got anything that you want to say to the supporters?
They especially the oldest fans, they know me that I don't like to talk a lot of. So just to say hello to them, good to see them all, and just because I'm not doing interviews, that does not mean that I'm not watching our team. So just say hello to them. Keep support the team, and hopefully we're going to win again everything this year.
Well, you're always welcome to do an interview with me. It's an absolute honour, and as fans we want to say thank you to you as well. From myself, FG, and the legend himself, Alexander Kolarov.
Thank you.
And he is a legend, and he hasn't aged a day, has he, Alexander Kolarov, since he was playing Handsome Devil. How good was Alexander Kolarov when he was here at City, Steve?
Excellent player, and it's always great to see players come back to the club, and obviously big games like this. But special player. I mean, there's been a number of special players played for Manchester City. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But he's certainly right up there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche. Any player who's left-footed, they've got a wand of a left foot, but he did, didn't he, Steph?
Yeah, he did. I think I look at him from a defensive point of view, but I think when you speak about someone with good delivery and ability to pass and play over the top, he was and his shots as well from outside the box. He had so much power, and yeah, like Steve said, I think it is nice when you see other players come back who have played for the club and really appreciate and being on that journey that the club's been on.
And FG, big City fan, you can see his voice broke at the end. He's like, he's a legend. He's a legend. It means a lot to FG as well to have these legends coming back. JMO, very quickly, I've just got a question on WhatsApp's coming. Would you have started Phillips and given Rodri a rest, considering we should have far too much for Red Star tonight? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the simple answer would be yes. And again, when we were talking about what sort of changes, Phillips would have been one that would have suited the game.
Might have boosted his own, not that he needs it, but confidence and getting game time in the big competition.
Yeah, it's so interesting, again, what Steph and Steve were saying. I mean, the fact that this group is in so much harmony together, that Calvin Phillips' presence is part of that harmony, and him not getting as much game time as others might want doesn't seem to disrupt that harmony. So I would have had him in naturally, simply because I think Rodri a couple of games ago looked a bit tired. I'm not sure that could have just been a bad night's sleep or whatever, but this would have been a good opportunity. Perhaps, again, with the strength of this starting lineup, Pep's looking at the last 2 or 3 group games as opportunities for people to get run-outs. Not saying that Calvin Phillips won't appear before then, but get the group 1 early, then worry about what you're going to do with afterwards.
We'll see it then. Now, it's very nearly game time, so that means it's game time. Oh, yeah, this is what we've all been waiting for tonight on Matchday Live. Now, I don't know if you know this, but this is the first time that City have played Red Star Belgrade. First time they've ever played a team from Serbia. And this is the 17th nation that City have come up against in European competition. So we've got some tiles, and we're going to play this game. Where are the tiles? There you go. And it's numbered by how many teams from that nation City have played against. So you've got to pick one of these tiles, take your turns, and we'll have a clue. And we'll see how far we go. Who wants to go first? Oh, come on. I'm going to give it to you, Jamie.
I thought that was the number of goals City has scored in last Champions League.
No, we're obsessed with that number 6 tonight, Jamie.
I will go 2 teams from... 1 team from Serbia.
Tonight doesn't count. So we'll go for bottom right, number 1. This is how the game works. You've gone for bottom right, number 1. Now you're going to get a clue. What's the clue?
Oh, you get a clue, right, OK.
A watch.
Switzerland.
I'm pretty sure that might be right. What do we think, guys?
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. 1 for JMO. Steph? I think you tell us which tile you want rather than anything else. You're going to go 6 for the easy one.
Yeah,
OK, top left.
I hope it is easy.
Oh. Sausage-ish.
Germany.
Is it a sausage?
Germany. Could it be? 1 apiece, Steve.
5.
Yeah, we're going 5. Sorry, top left.
Well, like a bull.
A bull? Yeah, bull.
Spanish?
Bull's head.
Spanish?
You're going Spanish? I think you might be right again. It's tough, this, isn't it? It really is. What about... JMO, I'm going to pick for you. Bottom left, 1.
OK.
Bottom left.
Bottom left, 1.
It's not happy.
Oh, it doesn't want to happen.
It's coming. It's coming. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Greece.
It's a good shot. My first thought was Italy, but surely not. Well done. Well done. Steph?
I'll go 3.
3, so that's second down on the left.
Oh, wow.
London, yeah.
No clues.
London.
OK, so you're going England.
England, yeah.
There you go, decent. Steve, we haven't had any wrong guesses yet. I don't know if we're going to get any wrong guesses.
You will.
Here.
4. Any one of them.
Any of the 4s at the top.
This is where we'll get it wrong. French. Or Paris.
It's Disneyland, isn't it? I think that. I've seen it. Yeah. OK, well done. Right, we found this quite easy, production team.
1.
JMO, you're going for one of the 1s. Any of the 1s. The hardest one.
The hardest one?
Yeah, the hardest one. Come on. There's got to be 1. Oh, I can't actually see that.
Wow.
It's Nedum.
Nedum.
What are you looking at me like that for? What's your answer? We wanted it tough.
Wow. I can't really think.
If you can't get it, we'll bring the answer up at half time. Get your WhatsApps into us.
Yeah.
You've seen the number on the screen. So JMO's had a failure. Steph.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
You dropped it into the back of the net there, JMO.
I'll go the other 4.
The other 4, top right.
Oh.
Italy.
Oh, it must be pasta.
Pasta,
is that pasta? It is.
Looks like
it
looks
That's
like
a good guess. I
ball.
wasn't sure what that was. Steve?
Any of the 2s.
Any of the 2s, the hardest 2. Come on. We'll make this the last one. We'll come back. We'll do this at half time. Is it the Boxing Brothers? Yeah, it's the Klitschko brothers, isn't it? You're going for Ukraine?
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Right, we're going to leave the last 6 and we're going to come back. We're going to do that after the game. Don't forget, Nadem. If anyone knows that one, can help JMO out, do text us in on the WhatsApp number. That was hard. That was the only one that I found particularly hard. So look, final reflections before we go out to our commentary team. Ali Mann and Kit Simons are just warming up the vocal cords. We've done the teams. We've done Red Star Belgrade with our wonderful guests. We'll bring up the starting 11. What do you want to see from the team? Not individually from the players. What sort of performance do you want to see today, JMO?
Well, having done a little bit of research into Red Star Belgrade, there is an opportunity here to really win comfortably and with a high score, hence the prediction. I expect to see and want to see, I don't want to say professional as a word, that sounds so condescending, just them play their best against a side who we'd imagine will be defending, because these are the sort of games which will help them win the Premier League as well.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Steph, City ultimately ran out comfortable winners at West Ham at the weekend, but they went behind, they conceded a goal. I know you're a defender. How important is a clean sheet?
Yeah, I think it's massive for that mentality, and it gives you a basis of a performance for our attacking players to go and enjoy themselves and have that freedom. And I think, similar to what JMO said, I think maybe like to send out a little bit of a statement to the rest of the Champions League and be like, okay, yeah, we've won it once, but we're really focused on winning it again. And I think we do speak about being professional, and this group of players are far more superior than Red Star Belgrade, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But to be honest, for them just to go and enjoy themselves and really put on a good performance for the fans.
Yep, we're all looking forward to that. I will ask you about the starting team, not that's on the screen, but on the bench. Young Oscar Bob. Would it be nice for him to get some minutes if Manchester City can get to the point where the game is parked?
Yeah, and I think obviously the manager will see how the game's going, if it's nice and comfortable. Because what you don't want either is, for the Red Star to be losing the plot and start kicking Man City players, and therefore you don't want to really be bringing your players on to get injured, and certainly your players that's already there. But yeah, if it's nice and comfortable, of course he could look at any one of those lads on the bench and give them some time, and then hopefully again that just beds them in for hopefully again later on down the line in this competition where you've already qualified, the boys can get extra game time. But of course, if they can, have a healthy lead at half time, he probably make a good few chances. Yeah, no doubt. Manchester City will want to lay down a marker. They are the champions of Europe tonight. They kickstart their defence of the European Champions League, the UEFA Champions League. What a moment for the players. We've seen the trophy with FG on pitch side. Don't forget to get your WhatsApps into us, if only to help out JMO with the game that we'll bring back at half time. Also get your questions in for half time and for full time with us. But for now, we'll head down because you can see the shirts all lined up. Some are born here, some are drawn here, but we all call it home. That's the Manchester City dressing room. The shirts are up. I think it's time we join our commentary team of Alistair Mann and Kit Simons. Take it away, guys.
Success. Getting behind our boys in blue.
Thanks, Chris. And so, for the first time in the club's illustrious history, City begin the defence of their Champions League